Hi, this is Ridea Keeping It Real, and we are reading through the Bible using the Good News Bible. We're on the Apocrypha book, Second Maccabees. So we've read chapter 1 of Second Maccabees, and now we're on chapter 2. And it's not a repeat of First Maccabees. It's looking at what happened in First Maccabees in a different viewpoint. More of a summary. So here we go. Second Maccabees chapter 2. Talking about how Jeremiah hides the tent of the Lord's presence. We know for the record that Jeremiah the prophet instructed the people who were being taken into exile to hide some of the fire from the altar, as we've just mentioned. That was in chapter 1. And we know what happened with that, where they hid some of the fire and they put some of the oil on the altar, the sun hit it, and it turned into fire. Magic. We also know that he taught them God's law and warned them not to be deceived by ornamental gold and silver idols, which they would see in the land of their exile. And then he urged them to never abandon the law. These same records also tell us that Jeremiah, acting under divine guidance, commanded the tent of the Lord's presence and the covenant box to follow him to the mountain where Moses had looked down on the land which God had promised our people. Our people. When Jeremiah got to the mountain, he found a huge cave. Here we go. A huge cave. And there he hid the tent of the Lord's presence, the covenant box, and the altar of incense. Then he sealed up the entrance. Some of Jeremiah's friends tried to follow him and mark the way, but they could not find the cave. When Jeremiah learned what they had done, he reprimanded them, saying, "No one must know about this place until God gathers his people together again and shows them mercy. At that time, he will reveal where these things are hidden, and the dazzling light of his presence will be seen in the cloud as it was in the time of Moses, and on the occasion when Solomon prayed that the temple might be dedicated in holy splendor." How Solomon celebrated the festival. We are also told how the wise King Solomon offered a sacrifice of dedication at the completion of the temple, and that when he prayed, fire came down from heaven and consumed the sacrifices, just as it had done earlier when Moses prayed. Moses had explained that the sin offering was consumed by fire because it was not eaten. Solomon celebrated the festival for 8 days. Nehemiah's library. These are some facts. These same facts are found in the royal records and in the memoirs of Nehemiah, who established a library and collected the writings of David, letters of the kings concerning the offerings, and books about the kings and prophets. Judas also collected the books that had been scattered because of the war, and we still have them. But if you ever need any of these books, let us know, and we'll send them. An invitation to celebrate the festival. Since we're about to celebrate the festival of rededication, and we are writing to you, advising you to celebrate it as well. God has saved all his people and has restored to all of us our holy land, the kingship, the priesthood, and the temple services, just as he promised in his law. He has rescued us from terrible evils and has purified the temple, and we are confident that in his mercy he will soon gather us to his holy temple from every nation under the sun. The preface from the author. Jason of Cyrene was recorded in 5 volumes, the story of Judas Maccabeus and his brothers, the purification of the great temple, and the dedication of its altar. He has described the battles of Antiochus Epiphanes and his son Epator, and he has told of the heavenly visions that appeared to those who fought bravely and enthusiastically to defend Israel, the Israelites. Maybe it said Judaism, maybe. Our forces were few in number, but they plundered the entire country and routed the heathen forces. They recaptured the temple, famous throughout the world, liberated Jerusalem, and restored the laws that were in danger of being abolished. They were able to do all these things because the Lord had mercy and was kind to them. I will now try to summarize in a single book the 5 volumes written by Jason. This Jason. The number of details and the bulk of material can be overwhelming for anyone who wants to read an account of the events, but I've attempted to simplify it for all readers. Those who read from sheer pleasure will find enjoyment, and those who want to memorize the facts will not find it difficult. Is that writing? I don't know what that is. Writing such a summary is a difficult task, demanding hard work and sleepless nights. It is as difficult as preparing a banquet that people of different tastes will enjoy. But I am happy to undergo this hardship in order to please my readers. I will leave the matter of details to the original author and attempt to give only a summary of the events. I am not the builder of a new house who is concerned with every detail of the structure, but simply a painter whose only concern is to make the house look attractive. The historian must master the subject, examine every detail, and then explain it carefully. But whoever is merely writing a summary should be permitted to give a brief account without going into detailed discussion. So then, without any further comment, I will begin my story. I would be foolish to write such a long introduction that the story itself would have to be short. So here's his summary. Wow. It's a story. And what we're going to do is we're going to stop there. And I'm going to pick back up chapter 3 on. But chapter 2 kind of taught us that, God hides away things. He hid away things in that cave when they were going into exile, when those things, he didn't want those things to get corrupted. Interesting. So these are like mountains, rocks. I mean, all you can think about, all I ever want to think about is, why did they hide these things? What were they trying to hide? They were trying to hide that even though you can't see the things of God, like they couldn't see the Ark of the Covenant or the incense that was used, it still was there. It's just that God hid it. I kind of like the way these are the charcoal colored pencils. I like the way they sound. I don't like the way they color. I just like the way they sound. I don't quite like the way they color. It's not the same. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Like this is non-charcoal. Easier to color. But doesn't sound the same, right? It's just a preference. But with this, even though I was coloring outside of the lines, you can do this to those charcoal ones and see what it does. That's kind of a good thing. You can blend those colors in. So now I just almost colored the whole thing, right? Pretty much. Just because of that. Mm-hmm. So what I'll do is I'll finish coloring this, and I'll upload this video. And that was 2nd Maccabees, Chapter 2. Till next time, it's Ridea keeping it real.